everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our channel, Paws On Animation.
Today we're covering the last series in the Ben 10 franchise and the most recent, the 2016 Reboot.
Yes, another podcast for Superhero Month.
Yes.
And this new series shows Ben Tennyson once again on a summer road trip with Grandpa Max and Cousin Gwen, fighting villains along the way. However, this one skips the origin story, alien lore, and Ben's growth as a hero and personal growth.
Yeah. And before we start, be sure to like, subscribe, and notification updates on future podcasts and Paws videos.
Now, quickly I want to say, when we watched Omniverse, we didn't expect to like it, and we ended up liking multiple seasons of Omniverse. It ended up being really, really good. So, when we got to Ben 10 2016 Reboot, we said, hey, we were really surprised how good that ended up being from multiple seasons. We'll give this a try. Lightning didn't strike twice.
Nope, it got so bad there were points we skipped episodes, mostly because they had aired on TV and we didn't have to see them in a particular order at that point. And full disclosure, we understand there will be a few maybe newer people that do enjoy the reboot, regardless if they've seen the original or this is their first time into it and they like the different tone. Please know there's nothing wrong if you do like the show, because we like a lot of things other people particularly don't like.
And we love the Ben 10 franchise. Even if this is not one of our favorite versions, we still love it as a whole. We still love Man of Action. We love the voice actors. We still miss Dwayne McDuffie. So, this in no way is us badgering the franchise. We're really giving our opinion on this particular series. Where there were some things we did like. Mostly there were things we didn't care for.
So for this one, they went back to the classic, which is funny because one of the versions of Ben said that it'll be another few series before they cycle back to the original, and then lo and behold, they did it. And in here we go back to classic, where they do the road trip, and Ben has adventures while on his summer vacation, saving people with his aliens. Now, the big three differences in here is that it's more into comedy than action. I mean, heavily into comedy, much like Teen Titans Go and the Powerpuff Reboot.
Meaning that its target audience is a much younger audience.
Right. Two, they redesigned them to make them look more rounded and softer and cutesy and colorful, rather than it looking...
10,000 was not cute.
Except that part. And while the classic had more of a comic book feel and a little more serious tone, they decided to just forego most of the seriousness until the end of the series and keep it just a comedy. And then the third thing would be that there is no plot. There isn't a plot unless they have a special or a TV movie. It stays pretty much the same thing every time, where they travel to a place. It's usually, if it's something fun, it's something Ben or Gwen pick. If it's something boring and old, Grandpa Max picks it. And it's kind of insulting because Grandpa Max usually took on things that would enrich their minds and would be fun. Even if Ben found it boring, it was still supposed to be sort of an educational road trip type thing. Here, no. Kids want fun stuff, Grandpa wants boring stuff. And unfortunately, all of it was boring to the places they went because you were just kind of scratching your head at some of the things they wanted to do.
For me, this wasn't Grandpa Max. They had changed his personality and who he was so much that it just wasn't Grandpa Max. You kind of didn't even understand why he was there.
Except drive them.
Right. He wasn't helpful and a source of strength and wisdom and love the way he was in every other version of this series, which really struck me as odd why they would choose to make him such the opposite of what he'd been. And like you said, he was a ride. That's what he was, pretty much. And the fact that he wanted to keep hidden that he was a plumber made absolutely no sense whatsoever. Yeah,
they hint at it quite a bit. You thought it was going to be a reveal when they have the terrible alien extinction episode. They clarify in every universe Grandpa Max is a plumber, and they don't even know what a plumber is in this universe. And every time someone brings it up, Max would tell them to never, don't speak of it, don't say anything. Clearly, he never wanted the kids to ever find out he was a plumber, period. He lied, said it wasn't true. He never wanted them to find out, and you don't get why. And there weren't even any aliens after him, so you could have said something.
Right.
And with that, there's a lot of the action, excuse for a lot of the action to be taken out. And we don't know if he's pretending to be kind of dim, or he really is dim and he kind of just, I don't know, went crazy after a while. After his plumber days, it's not really made clear. And the only advice he ever gives that I guess supposed to be helpful is, your family's always there for you. Granted, yes, that was something in the original, but that seems to be the only piece of information he ever gives. We're Team Tennyson. We're a family. Your family's a team. Your team can help you. It was the same message ad nauseum, and Ben never got it.
And the family wasn't always there for him, which kind of totally defeated the message.
Yeah, exactly.
And another thing for me that stuck out about this that just didn't seem Ben 10 franchise-like was the version of Kevin they decided to go with.
Right. Now, for here, he's still 11, and they brought back, actually, Greg started to do the voice as a shout-out, which was pretty cool.
Fantastic move to bring back a
Right.
voice actor.
And they decided that Kevin was no longer an Osmosian. He was a regular punk kid, and he had a dream, which turned out to be Vilgax. We'll get to that soon, where he built a Negatrix. Albedo was not in this version, so Kevin made it this time. And Kevin turns into evil versions who are kind of bootleg versions of Ben's aliens. You can tell they're really just not well thought out. And they do clarify, yes, in a way, Kevin is stronger than Ben. And they never really go into that. He just is stronger. Gwen is stronger. Everyone is stronger than Ben. And we don't even know how he's alive at some point.
How is Gwen stronger? That was never explained.
No, it wasn't.
Yes.
Right, and we'll get to that
She was a
soon.
girl.
Right, we'll get to that soon too. But the whole thing where they had Kevin be the villain in the classic and then redemption in Alien Force, well, they kind of just decided, well, no, we're going to have him be redeemed now and constantly struggle between being good and evil, except there's no struggle.
Right.
There's a point he still has a crush on Gwen for no reason. It's one-sided. Gwen can't stand him, and it never changes. And to clarify, it only happens in another universe with Alien Force. It never happens in this version, no matter how long it's been. And they keep saying, oh, you can join us. You can join our team. You can be part of our family. He needs a family. Well, clearly he didn't want it to be because he kept rejecting it. They kept sitting like, oh, maybe he'll accept it this time. Maybe he just is alone. He wants a family. Well, he keeps running off. And it happens so much all up to the end of the series that you can't even take that to heart. It's like, hey, maybe they're trying to do something different and have him be good much sooner instead of waiting half his life to get on the right track, which would have been fine if they just hadn't decided, well, we need him to be an antagonist and come in every other episode, because he came in so much, I didn't want to see episodes with him anymore.
And now that we're talking about this, maybe this is the reason why they decided to make Ben Gen 10 and make Rex be along the same way.
Yeah.
Never thought about it till now. They were similar characters.
Yes.
Like, this is kind of what they were going for.
Right.
With the extra characters, there were heroes and not heroes, so
Right.
go figure.
And then you had, besides, Gwen, and I know you're bringing that before we get to how the story is now, Gwen sort of goes back and forth between a voice of reason and being Ben's sidekick in the really dumb things. She's really not the smart one as much anymore. She's just as reckless as Ben half the time. And they had to decide, pick an episode where she's reasonable or where she's silly like him. And then they keep bringing up where Ben doesn't appreciate her, treat her as an equal, and she doesn't need to be his sidekick. She wants to be his equal-sized partner. And it's the point where she turned to a bad guy temporarily to prove that she didn't need him. And then she did beat him. So I wasn't sure what they were going with, because
the only time this didn't happen is in the first movie that accompanied this particular version of the franchise.
Right.
And the reason the movie worked is because it was really based on
Trigonometry.
Yes. And it was the only time within this entire series that you saw the brother-sister relationship and you saw the appreciation that was lacking and missing in the entire entire series.
Right.
So yeah, it was really odd. I agree.
Right. And then accompanied with that, you have what's now the new thing with the road trip. And we said they go to different places. They claim they're going to monuments and things. They never look like how they're supposed to look. And in the last season, they actually end up going around the world, which sounds right. And in theory, it sounded great because they really didn't do that in the classic. You're like, okay, that's actually something different. And then every place looked the same, and all of the countries are boiled down to stereotypes, and to a point where China and Japan almost look the same, and China looked like a regular street with some Chinese lettered signs and a dragon. And it's like, did you Google anything?
And they were telling you it was Tokyo, and it was no,
yeah,
it was
like
Tokyo.
no Tokyo.
London wasn't London. None of these places they went to were the places you would expect to see. Now they can say, well, you know what, this is an alternate universe, and you should have
Fine. Fine.
Because we were looking to see some definition and differences between the places they visited. We didn't get them. And the problem with that, it was an excellent idea.
Right.
And we thought we were going to see something fantastic done that they hadn't done in any other series.
You're right.
Unfortunately, it didn't work.
Right.
Because he really didn't put a lot of thought into it.
Right.
And it ended up being goofy. So again, I'm going to say, I think this particular version of Ben 10 is a target audience of much younger viewers. The target is not previous viewers,
Right.
not fans of the classic,
Which is why they don't go to the
or
origin.
Alien Force, or Ultimate Alien, or
why they-
even Omniverse.
Nope.
They wanted a whole new spectrum of very young viewers. Toy line,
Yeah.
merchandising. They didn't want us.
No.
And
it was clear.
that's fine. So anyone who hasn't seen this version, if you're going into it expecting to be more silly for a more younger audience, I would say TVY5,
Right.
not even TVY7, then you're going to be fine. But if you're going into this and you haven't seen it, looking for the types of stories and situations and lessons and things that we got in every other version, it's not happening here.
Right. And then with that, Ben's aliens are really just pretty much the norm. And that was a huge problem because the huge thing with playing with the idea of the alien existence in the entire franchise, where it started off as, okay, they're real, but only a few of them know, and they have to make sure people don't know. Things happen, don't let them find out it's aliens behind, especially the Vilgax. And here, screw that, everyone knows about aliens. Aliens are normal. Ben turns into aliens in front of people all the time. He films himself. He has a YouTube channel where he films his exploits, which wouldn't be so bad if that wasn't already, against the rules. And everyone's fine with him turning to aliens. They don't freak out. They don't run away. He talks to them in front of them. He has a YouTube channel where he shows all of his exploits, finding bad guys. He wants to get YouTube famous by being an alien crime fighter. And clearly no one cares in this universe about that because he's now, oh, you're the famous Ben 10. No one cares. This show was so lax, and everything is canon here besides aliens. We also have dragons, gnomes, talking animals, chimeras. We have fairies. We have alternate universes now, time travel, space travel, yetis, video game and cartoon characters that can come to life from their world into our world, living fog, Scooby-Doo ghosts, the undead, magic, wizards, witches, weather machines, and everything is canon in this universe now, to a point where you want to just kind of like hit your head. Like, no, not just aliens, everything. Everything exists now. Everything is awesome in Ben 10 Reboot.
Yeah. So, this is what made it difficult to really like this series. And I was really at least hoping for some good episodes, for some standouts. And again, understand the audience is I'm not the target. Mm-hmm. But there weren't even any standout episodes. The biggest standout, as I mentioned, was the first movie, Omnitrix.
Yes.
That was, for me, and I think for you too.
Yes.
The best part of this reboot was
Yes.
that movie.
And
It was reminiscent of the original series, still targeting a youthful audience, but still having a storyline and seeing a relationship between Ben and Gwen and it working, them appreciating each other. And again, we know that it was based on
Zero the Omnitrix.
but still, it was done in a way where you weren't going, it's just the same movie. You didn't feel that way.
Right.
You could see that it was an inspiration for it, but it was its own movie. It even had a cute name, a pun name.
Right.
And that is the thing that worked the best for me.
Right.
Out of all of the episodes and everything that happened in the Ben 2016 reboot was Omnitrix.
Right. And lastly, to bring up with that, it was the only special that was actually engaging and fun to watch, because at least there was even some action in there, and Vilgax for an episode was a threat. Now, I know some people actually did end up liking this reboot version of Vilgax, great and all, but we just couldn't get
And
into
he was
it.
also a younger version.
You're right.
So again,
And voiced by Yuri Lowenthal, that I think was supposed to be a joke, like the hero is now voicing the villain, but I don't think we really got into that.
but you know what? I was really just happy
He
that
was in there.
in here
Right.
and getting paid to do what he does best.
Right.
So I was even okay with that. I was
Right.
like, yeah, well, that's
At
not
least
what I would
he's in
expect.
there. Yeah.
No Steve Blum, but still, we love Yuri Lowenthal, so that's fine.
Right. So now the specials they had were about maybe 6 in total. Omnitrix was the first and best one.
Absolutely.
They had one called Tales of the Omnitrix, where they did a really lackluster Trios of Horror style telling campfire stories. And they pretty much made fun of Tim Burton, saying his style was really weird and creepy and not supposed to make sense. Schoolhouse Rock, which didn't feel like Schoolhouse Rock. And then anime. And it's clear these people have not watched anime in several decades, because
About
they
30
still...
years.
30 years, because they are still thinking anime is made like Speed Racer, but they talk really fast and the dub is really fast and they have to zoom in and everything's out of sync. They still think anime is made like that, which is like appalling. And then you had the Ben 10 versus the Universe movie, which we have covered and you'll be seeing this month.
I've already seen that.
Yeah, in case you're watching this out of order. And that one was just an okay movie. It was better than most episodes they had.
And we were really looking forward to enjoying it.
Right.
And I think that's another thing I want to point out quickly is that no time in which we watched the series where we were just going for each episode going, this is going to suck.
Right.
This is going to be... No, we had the attitude, okay, we're waiting for something. We're waiting for something like in The Incredibles, we
Right.
get on the bicycle
That was
going,
totally
I'm just
wicked.
going to wait because I know
Something
something's
amazing.
going to happen.
Yeah, something's amazing. Yeah. Then you had Innervasion, where they took the Ghost Freak storyline and they took out Ghost Freak. They said he was too dark to have in the show, but then they took the storyline with a new character, Shock Rock, and the alien ended up being a signal for an invasion coming to Earth in the Omnitrix, which was an interesting idea.
Yes, definitely.
Interesting idea, but it started to lose its weight when it got towards the end. By the time it got to the big battle, you weren't feeling that weight anymore because they kept trying to make jokes and things all throughout. Then you had the final 3, which was Ben 10,010. Don't ask why that's the title. We don't know why. And they show Ben has no future. Clearly, he turned into a really horrendous version of Ben 10,000. He went from a capable leader, one of the greatest heroes of all time, to a lazy, crazy, chubby hobo who lives in a dump. He's kind of insane, senile in his 30s,
And then a murderer later.
and a murderer. He let the world come to an end. Gwen became president because she's better than him. I'm not kidding you. They say that. And she managed to reform all the villains so they could fight an alien invasion. And Ben gave up and ran away. And he doesn't learn in his 30 years to be better. It takes until his 10-year-old self comes and saves him.
And he became a murderer. And I know I keep saying
Yeah, which we're getting to it.
Because the target again was a much younger audience. And that really was a surprise that became a part of this.
Right.
Since a much younger audience was the target, that being in here just didn't make sense.
Right. Then you have Alien Extinction, which was one of our least favorite episodes ever, where not only did they have, it's not even a spoiler here, the Alien X is an evil version of Ben that lost his family to Vilgax, and he decided to break his own Omnitrix and just kill every Ben and his family in every universe, because if he couldn't be happy, no one else could be. So he was on a
Shigaraki.
You're right. So he went on a manhunt in every universe to destroy Ben and or take their Omnitrix and have infinite power.
And it kind of lifted from Eon in the...
Right, who's not in here.
Right,
and
but it kind of took that
from the live action.
Yes.
Right.
Merged it in here with Ben.
Right.
That's kind of what it was like.
And then they had visited from Alien Force Ben, and they killed off the Omniverse Ben. We're not kidding. So I guess they said, oh, you don't like it, we'll just kill them all. And they stated that, no, this is not a different timeline. These are other universes. And they retconned the whole franchise to where every individual series that came before it is now a separate universe, meaning they're no longer canon to each other, which pissed so many people off, they just decided to ignore it.
This movie all over again.
You're right. And then the final episode of the series and special was Ben Gen 10, which we also covered on here. And this one, they were supposed to have Generator Rex be in the same universe as Ben, and it's supposed to be a backdoor pilot to a Generator Rex reboot, where Rex is going to protect people when Ben's off his summer vacation. And you know our thoughts in that one. If you've seen it, it was a very poor reimagining of Heroes United. It could have potential to bring something we've been asking for back, to have these two team up again. And because the characters were so far away from their original version, because they were determined to make them reimagined and different and more for kids, that it did not work.
And I think when I'm looking at it as we're talking, this was their version of Teen Titans Go.
Yes.
You had 2003 that was more story driven, action driven,
And character driven.
Yes, it was a different target audience. Then you have Teen Titans Go. And you know, we've covered the movies, which the movies were outstanding. And that has a different target audience. I think the Ben 10 2016 reboot was the same. Hey, for all of you that want all of those elements, go watch all the other series. But if you want something that's silly and crazy and doesn't have the action you want and seriousness and storylines, then this is for you. So maybe that was their attempt at trying to match Teen Titans Go.
Yeah.
Now that being said, again, if you were a fan of this particular version, that's fantastic. We're really happy that they're fans of this series, because again, we love the franchise on a whole.
Right.
But for us, this was our least liked version of Ben 10.
Yes.
Unfortunately. The best thing about it was the first movie, Omnitrix.
Right.
The second best thing was the return of all the original voice actors. Fantastic. The third thing is they didn't kill off Grandpa Max.
Right.
The fourth thing is they didn't break up Gwen and Ben being like brother and sister.
Right.
And being around each other and there for each other, even though we think it could have been done better.
Right.
We're just still happy that they both were still around. And another thing that was done well is, I guess you could say, the vibrancy of the colors.
Yes, it's very bright and eye-catching, and it doesn't feel like it's oversaturated. It's just like, hey, we want to make sure you can get your attention.
Right. So, if you've seen Ben 10 2016 Reboot, or any of the other specials that went with it, let us know in the comments below. Was this for you? Was it meh? Was it your first time watching a Ben 10 franchise series?
Right.
And it's your favorite because it's your first time. Let us know what you think.
Right. And if you haven't already, subscribe for updates, so you can view your favorite anime series, anime shows, and all things animation.
Absolutely. And thank you for continuing to join us for Superhero Month. It will be coming to a close soon with this podcast.
Yep.
One of the last few. We've had
and covering the Ben 10 franchise.
Absolutely. We had so much fun sharing so many superhero series and movies and mangas and books with you. And if you have some ideas that you want to be covered for next year's Superhero Month in July 2024, let us know in the comments below.
Right. So, thank you so much for watching. I'm Mask Entertainment.
And I'm Mon Entertainment.
Have a fantastic day.
Peace.
And reporters sitting flashing lights, trying to walk around, man, who the hell are you? What you wanna do? My man, it's on you. tops